Video, we'll learn how to search the library's specialized databases. First off, what are databases? They're searchable collections of sources such as articles, books, ebooks, or media around a particular subject or group of subjects. When you find a source in a database, you often will find the citations and a description of the source, along with the full text or a link to access the full text of the source. Some databases are very general, such as Academic Search Premier, that contain sources on nearly any academic subject. In contrast, CINAHL contains only sources related to nursing or allied health. While the library search box searches most of the library's databases at once, there are benefits to searching individual databases. One benefit is that your search terms are interpreted differently when you search the library search box than they are by each database. You might put the same search term in the library search box and into a subject-specific database and come up with different results. Relevant sources from a particular database might get lost among the many search results you'll find in the library search box. Additionally, each has unique search features such as filters or subject terms that are helpful for the subject, the specific type of content that it contains. You can find databases that would be relevant to your research topic by visiting the library's A to Z list of databases. Click the subject drop-down menu to limit the list of databases to those on a particular subject. You can see that each database has a description of the type of content it contains. Another way to find databases that would be relevant to your research topic is to visit the library's subject guides. Check to see if there is a guide for your discipline and to see if there are recommended databases. To find the most relevant search result on your topic, you want to explore the search features of that database. If we're interested in Native Americans in the Pacific Northwest and ecology, let's try searching different databases to see how our search results will differ and what different search tools are available to us. So one thing to note, most of these databases are available to you as a student, staff, or faculty member of Pacific through the library subscription. Thus, to gain access to them, you need to use the database links on the library's website in order to access them. If you're off campus, you'll be prompted to enter your PU Net ID and password. This also goes for PubMed and Google Scholar. While these two databases are searchable freely online, if you click the link to get to them from the library's website, you'll see links to get the full text of articles directly from the library whenever they're available. Now let's try searching Academic Search Premier. This database contains sources on nearly any academic topic. For a basic search, you could enter Native Americans, Oregon, and ecology. Alternatively, we could use a more advanced search. So in one line, we could put Native American or American Indian or Indigenous or Native tribes or Native people and Oregon or Washington or Pacific Northwest and ecology. We can see by doing this, we got quite a few more search results than when we did our simple search. And they do look fairly relevant. Notice the filters on the left side of the page, such as the option to limit to a publication date range, or the option to only show articles from peer-reviewed journals, or to limit the type of source, such as academic journals, magazines, or newspapers. Now, when we see an article that looks relevant, we'll click on the title, which will usually allow us to see the article's abstract or summary. We can see that this article entitled Human versus Person, an examination of nature culture on the Northwest Coast. It was published in volume 19, issue 1 of the journal Native Studies Review. And it was on pages 29 to 51 of that issue. We can read the abstract and see how closely it relates to our topic. We can also see the subject terms, which might give us additional ideas for search terms. The tools on the right side of the page provide us with the citation, the permanent link, the permalink. Remember that the citation that you get from the database might not be 100% correct. Check it against the correct format and make any necessary changes. However, to read the article, we'll look for a link for the full text or total access at Pacific. This article has the full text, so we'll click on it. Now you'll want to look for the tools on the right side of the page, such as cite. You can download the article. We can print it. We can email it or get the permanent link to it. One thing to remember is that when you find an article in a database, in most cases, the link in your web browser is not a permanent link, and it will break if you try to use it to get back to the article. So you always want to find the link to the article within the database to link back to it. Let's look at the difference in our search results and search options when we search CINAHL. Let's try these search terms. Are different synonyms for Native Americans and ecology. On our search page, notice that there are many filters that are specific to nursing, such as case management, chiropractic care. Also notice that CINAHL has its own subject headings, CINAHL subject headings. So let's click search. Now in the search results, notice how they're all health related, since CINAHL only has journals from nursing and allied health. So let's look at Native American perspectives on health and traditional ecological knowledge. You can see the abstract and get to the full text. One tip is to search within whatever document you're searching for, you're reading for keywords. On nearly any document, if you click Control F on a PC or Command F on a Mac, and you search, you can search that document. For example, we have food written in here. So we can jump to all the places where this article mentions the word food. This will help us see quickly if it's relevant. We can also search using CINAHL subject terms, also called subject headings. Click CINAHL subject headings. Now we are browsing for the subject headings related to our keywords. So if we search for Native American, it will bring up subject headings related to Native Americans. So we'll click on this, click search database. And if we add this to our search terms, it will bring up any source that was assigned the subject of Native Americans when it was entered into the CINAHL database. Notice that the database indicates that the subject heading is MH and in quotation marks, Native Americans. The MH and the quotation marks around the words Native Americans is how the database knows you're searching for Native Americans as a subject heading as opposed to a keyword. This should bring you most of the articles on the topic, but it's possible you'll miss some. So it's best to add your keywords in addition to the subject heading. So as an example, we could use the subject heading or our keywords. And I also found that the subject heading for ecology looks like that. So we could do it for ecology. Now, let's look at the Web of Science. Web of Science is a database in the fields of natural sciences and social sciences and allows you to see all of the articles that have cited a particular article and also to see all of the articles that a particular article has cited. So let's enter our search terms. This pretty much the same ones, very similar to what we searched before. I'm using quotation marks though. And let's look at this one here, Salal Harvester, Local Ecological Knowledge, Harvest Practices, and Understory Management in the Olympic Peninsula, Washington. Now, we can see that 42 articles in this database have cited this article. This means that this article that we just looked at appears in the references of all of these articles. Those would be great places to look to see if they contain more updated research or similar research. We can also see that there are 67 articles in this database that appear in the references of the article we just looked at. These would also be great places to check for additional research on this topic. Finally, you could click Related Records here to see what articles this database thinks are similar to this one. So let's check one of the cited by articles, one of the articles that cited this article. And let's check this one, a cultural framework for Indigenous, local, and science knowledge systems in ecology and natural resource management. So to get the full text citation and permalink or to request it through Interlibrary Loan, you click this here, Total Access at Pacific, to be connected to it in Pacific University libraries. Now, you can also search Google Scholar. And remember that if you click the link on the library's website to Google Scholar, you'll see links to get the full text of articles that are available at Pacific. We'll enter the same search string that or similar one that we've been using before and click search. So we can access the full text at Pacific by clicking Get Full Text Article on the right side of the search results. Full text here to see the article. You can also sometimes find the full text on Google Scholar, like for example here. We get the full text for this one readily available. If you find a source that requires you to pay in order to access it, don't pay for it. Instead, request the article or book through Interlibrary Loan. For Interlibrary Loan options, click the double angle brackets and click No Full Text See option. For Interlibrary Loan options, click or you'll be connected back to Pacific University libraries where you could request it through Interlibrary Loan. Or in this case, it provides you additional full text links right here. To view the status of your current Interlibrary Loan request, go to Borrow, My Library Accounts, and you can log into your Interlibrary Loan account here if you click Iliad account and log in with your PU.ID and password to see the status of your requests. And you can also click Library Accounts to see material you've requested checked out from the library or that you've requested through Summit, which is our partnership with regional libraries. Now, you can also get the citation for each source from Google Scholar, and some handy search tips are to use the publication date filter to limit your search results to a specific publication date range. You can also click Cited By, and this is the same as Web of Science, where you see all of the articles that have cited this article, similarly to the Web of Science. You can also see related articles to see the articles that might be related to your topic. Remember to check to see if there's a subject guide for your discipline, to see what databases are recommended for your subject, and to contact a librarian to help you find sources for your research or for any questions you have along the way. We're here for you.